So if you've been following the comics for the better part of the last year, you probably noticed that Namor the Submariner has been getting a lot of play in them. Certainly being at the forefront of the Invaders, a new redesign, and Kevin Feige even recently, as far back as a few months ago, mentioned that Namor is something that could happen in the MCU. Let's talk about if it will, and maybe why it can and can't happen yet. So by now, most of you should be aware that when Kevin Feige says something, you kind of take it at face value. He doesn't really lie, but he finds that PR way to jump around things. And of course, him being the guy in charge of the MCU puts him in an interesting position. Now, Namor is something I've talked about since the beginning of CBC, really, and the beginning of the MCU. I've always wanted to see it. Right now, you're kind of primed for that character to make a splash on the big screen for the MCU, if you will, after the huge success of Aquaman. At the same time, the rights and laws between using Namor are a little more complex than you think. Part of him being owned by Fox, part by the MCU, part by Universal. It's a little bit, it's iffy to say the best. So what exactly happens? Well, with all the play he's been getting in the comics, certainly Marvel seems interested in using him down the road. Kevin Feige going out there and mentioning that, eventually we're going to see Namor. That's probably a good indicator sometime soon. Soon relative being to the MCU within the next 5 to 8 years, really, but that is soon considering everything we have coming. And when you think of it this way, the opportunity right now is to build him up in the comics, make people aware of him again, and have some brand new designs and ideas for what he can look like, his storyline in Atlantis, and then put him more forefront for the mainstream. So whether that's, a villain of Black Panther or a villain of the Fantastic Four or just an antagonist that shows up to help them in a team-up movie or something, we don't really know. But I think the writing is on the wall that he's in the comics more because they are planning to utilize him. Now, how they utilize him, who really knows? I'm going to assume Universal doesn't want to partner with Disney and do the movie because, let's be real, we would have gotten Hulk movies if that was the case. And I'm not sure that Disney sees Namor as a headline solo film act, right? Like, they already have so many other things in development. Let Aquaman do his own thing and make Namor a completely different character, which in the long run, that is what they are. They're completely different characters. They just both happen to be Atlantean descent, and Namor came first, Aquaman being more of a hero, while Namor being more of a anti-hero villain. So there's a lot to do here, but I think in the next couple of years we're going to see some movement on Namor, and it really won't surprise me if it starts, or at least there's some sort of mention of something happening within the next year and a half to 2.